This is such a difficult time for so many of us, but we wanted to let you know that for our Lewis students and for our alumni, that once you get everything settled at home with your family and your loved ones, there are things that you can be doing right now to work on advancing your career during a pandemic, which most of us have never encountered before. One thing we need to remember is that our resume is always a work in progress. And so while many people have a lot of downtime right now or they're restricted to working online, this can be the perfect time for you to update your professional documents. It's easy to let a bunch of time pass by without adding critical events or other content to your resume. So give some thought. Have you had any new jobs since the last time you've updated your resume? Did you complete an internship? Joined any professional associations, or did you get involved in any committees, either through your professional associations or through a campus organization? Maybe there's some new software you learned or some new instruments that you learned that you can add on to your resume. Think about your accomplishments from last semester and the semester before, depending on when you've last updated your resume. And maybe you made it onto the dean's list, or you earned some kind of a scholarship, or you earned an Employee of the Month award. Those are all things that you can be adding to your resume, especially if you haven't taken the time to update your resume recently. Once you've had a chance to make the updates to your resume, it's important to have your resume reviewed. So we always want to avoid having any kinds of typos in the resume or spacing errors, and it's very hard to proofread our own documents. Our eyes tend to glance over our own mistakes. So it's always good to have another set of eyes to do that. And here in Career Services, we have career advisors that are ready to review your resume. And that is available to any of our currently enrolled students at the graduate level or the undergraduate level, as well as any of our alumni. So you'll simply follow the directions listed here. Current students will use your Handshake account, and alumni will use lewisu.edu/gethired. Of course, there are certain industries like the hospitality industry that are having a lull in hiring right now, but we want you to know that many of these lulls are temporary and recruitment is still proceeding. And the reason that we know it is still proceeding is because even since the peak of this pandemic started, which was around March 13th, we have had employers add over 500 new jobs and internships to our Handshake site. So those are not jobs that were on there prior to this pandemic. These are new jobs that have been added on there, new jobs and internships, I should say. So we do still have employers who are actively posting jobs and actively recruiting during this time. In addition to the regular employers that are hiring, as I mentioned on the previous screen, there are some employers right now that have an immediate need. And so those are obviously employers in the healthcare industry. And then you'll see some additional ones that have recently been advertised in the news. And for many of the positions, those are, again, they're hiring for immediate needs, and the requirements for filling these positions very minimal. So this can be a nice opportunity, especially for those of you that might have just a severe need for some income right now, and you're just looking for any type of opportunity to get you through this difficult time. As many of you know, we just finished two massive job fairs this spring. Those were our two final job fairs of the year, and a number of you attended those events. So now would be a great time for you to follow up with some of those employers. So maybe there were some you talked to, and this is for internships or jobs. Maybe there were some you talked to and you haven't heard from them yet. Don't be afraid to email them and remind them that you enjoyed talking with them and that you are still interested in some of their positions. And it is a good idea. You know, they usually collect a lot of resumes at these events. And of course, you still do want to upload your resume online. because they will require that. But as a convenience to them, it would be nice to attach a copy of your resume to your email. So many of them are still doing their recruitment right now, and they are still filling their hiring needs for when they're back in full force. Most of you will end up using LinkedIn as it is a wonderful career development tool in terms of you're educating yourself about your profession, you're learning about some employers in your industry, and of course, you're networking with those employers in the industries that you're interested in. So for those of you that are just getting started in your career, now would be a great time to create your first LinkedIn account. And you'll see the link to the LinkedIn on this slide here, but know that it can be a little overwhelming when you first create your account. So don't be afraid to go on to YouTube and look up some tutorials on LinkedIn. It'll help you kind of understand the concept behind it, what it's used for, and how you can make the most of it. Those of you that have an established LinkedIn account, or once you're actually in there using LinkedIn, this can be a great opportunity for joining some new groups, looking to see maybe what some new groups are that have emerged that relate to the industry that you're in. Make sure you connect with your fellow Lewis students and also your faculty, employees, alumni from Lewis, alumni affiliate groups. This is all a part of how you're going to build your network. So you've always heard the importance of, use your network, use your network. Well, this is a part of your Lewis network. So build those connections right now while you have this time on your hands. This is also a great time to keep current on what's going on in your profession. Are there any changes taking place? And once you have your resume approved, as we discussed in a previous slide, once you have your resume approved in Handshake, this is a great chance for you to update that approved document, upload that approved document into your LinkedIn profile so that you're sure that your LinkedIn is staying current. And then one of the other things that sometimes new users of LinkedIn are afraid to do is they're afraid to write anything on there. They think, oh, I don't know anything yet. But don't be afraid to share something. Maybe you're not ready to compose an article yet, but you might have seen a nice article out there that somebody else wrote. You can share that interesting article on your page. There might be a particular skill that you are lacking. Maybe every time you look at those job postings, you see that they always want somebody who knows how to use this particular software program, and you never really had a chance to learn that program. Well, this might be your chance. So if you want a quick way to do that, many students are using YouTube to view tutorials on there. You can view some very quick ones, and you can also view some longer ones. But if you do have some more time, there are a variety of other resources that you can use at no charge. So there are structured ones that take a long time, maybe every week you learn a new skill. And then there's some others that are I guess you'd call them self-paced learning, and there are many free resources available through your community library. And I just wanted to emphasize that many of our libraries are currently closed in all of our respective communities, but their online resources are still available. All you need is your library card. So most of our community libraries, through their online resources, they have additional skills training in there. So you may be able to learn a language, or you might be able to learn a certain software program. So whatever it is that you want to learn that you think could enhance your skill set, this would be a great time to learn that. And then, of course, once you learn that, you want to be sure to add that onto your resume as well. While there are some government resources available, there are also some state resources as well as community resources. So I'd encourage you to do a search for some of the resources available to you in your area. It might be, if you live in a village, it might be through your village's website. If you live in a city, it might be through your city's website. And then in some cases, there are some resources available through the county in which you live as well. You'll see some additional ones listed on this page, including Illinois WorkNet, ONET Online, get some career information in there, and then the Career Transition Center of Chicago. And then if you do need to file for unemployment, you can do so by clicking on this link here. Even before this pandemic, employers have been increasingly using video interviewing. And we wanted to find a way to help our Lewis students nail it in the video interview because most people haven't had any exposure to doing that before. So we wanted you to have a way to practice doing that. So if you look at the link on here for Big Interview, you'll be able to use account code 0767 and enter your Lewis email. And then this system will allow you to conduct practice interviews from a variety of industries. And the interview questions come from actual industry experts. And are pre-recorded, and you will record your responses to these interview questions. You are the only person that will see this, so you don't have to worry that it's visible to anyone. It's only for you. But if you do want somebody to review it, we are happy to do that for you, and we're happy to give you some feedback on that. So what will happen is when you finish with your interview, you'll be given a link, and you can do whatever you like with that link. You can send it to someone you know that maybe does some hiring and ask them for their input. And you're also welcome to send it to career services at lewisu.edu. And then it will be forwarded to your career advisor. And then your career advisor will review your interview answers and get back to you within the time stated on our Handshake resources page. So obviously, this is a very, very difficult time for all of us, for students, for alumni, for faculty, staff, administrators. None of us have ever encountered anything like this before. So once you get through this, this initial dissonance here and you get your lives stabilized again, it can be a great time to just even act upon one of the ideas you've heard in this presentation to help you know that you're doing something productive, you're doing something toward the advancement of your career.